Good evening. The Winter Olympic Games opening ceremony in Sochi, Russia, is 18 days away. The Russians, from Vladimir Putin on down, have been telling the world, in effect, we've got this. Despite the very real threat of terrorism, they've been assuring the athletes and tourists and media who plan to attend these will be the safest and most heavily defended games ever. The problem is the threat has become more real in just the past few days. It now includes specific people, some of whom may have tried to infiltrate the games in advance. So we begin here tonight with our chief foreign correspondent, Richard Engel, in Moscow. Richard, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. Russia has described its security perimeter around Sochi as a ring of steel. Well, it may not be as impenetrable as they'd hoped. At the Sochi airport today, travelers were closely watched as Russian security forces search for as many as 4 women, suspected suicide bombers who may be planning an attack on the Olympics. One of them, who may have already made it into Sochi, is 22-year-old Ruzana Ibragimova. Police distributed wanted posters. Ruzana is a so-called Black Widow. She reportedly got that scar on her cheek from a raid by Russian forces last year. Her husband was killed. All this follows a threat from the grave yesterday. 2 men in a video claiming they're preparing to carry out last month's suicide attack in Volgograd and warning of attacks on the Olympics to come. They, like Ruzana, come from Dagestan, the heart of Russia's Islamic insurgency. We recently visited Dagestan, a poor Muslim republic where many hate Vladimir Putin and want independence from Russia. Some want Islamic law. Instead, they've gotten a harsh crackdown. At a mosque, men told us Russian forces burst in during prayers. I was hit with a police club. Policemen beat me, he said. They were asking, why do you go to the mosque? Anger is raw on both sides. Shamil Alibekov's brother was killed on this corner by Islamic militants.
This was your brother?
Yes. His brother was a policeman. Now Shamil is joining the force too. He said he wants justice. It's this old Russian conflict in the Caucasus that could explode during the Olympics.
The militants showed us that we have capabilities, we have the organization, we have people to carry out suicide bombing attacks.
Islamic militants hoping to show the world their cause and destroy Putin's prized Olympic Games. U.S. officials have complained they are not getting enough security cooperation from Russia. Specifically, they worry that Sochi doesn't have the infrastructure in place, the roads, the hospitals, to manage a crisis should one occur. Brian?
Richard Engel starting us off in Moscow tonight. Richard, thanks.